We often remember, and will continue to remember, players whose time never came, despite immense talent and generous advances. Penny Hardaway, T-Mac, Brandon Roy, Petrovich. But there is a special personality among these players whose collapse of expectations echoed throughout the league. Hello, you are on the channel Chronicle of Hoops, and today we will talk about the third number of the 1994 draft, who was supposed to replace their leader Isaiah Thomas for Detroit, and for the entire league Michael Jordan, who was gone for baseball, about Grant Hill. Grant Henry Hill was born October 5, 1972 in Dallas, Texas. Grant is the son of well-known running back Calvin Hill, who had got a master's degree in Yale before his NFL career. Not surprisingly, Grant himself chose Duke not because of success of the university team, but for the sake of prestigious education. He studied all 4 years and received degrees in economics and political science. This didn't stop him from succeeding on the court. Duke, led by Hill, won titles in 91 and 92. Hill, with excellent dribbling, excellent vision of the court, and the ability to assist, started matches as the point guard, but spent the main segments on the floor at the position of the fourth number. Grant was distinguished by athleticism, a sense of rebounding, and excellent defense. Not only did he rebound well, he also blocked and was effective at interception. He defended superbly both in the paint and on the perimeter. He was excellent as backup due to understanding of the game. It was his famous cross-court pass to Christian Laettner's buzzer beater that led Duke to victory in the NCAA Finals against Kentucky in '92. And even after Laettner and Bobby Harley left for the NBA, Hill once again led the team to the finals in 1994, but lost to Arkansas. By the way, in 1992, he became one of the 8 US students who beat the first Dream Team in the training game. He was accompanied by Chris Webber, Penny Hardaway and Allen Houston. Reviewing the footage of that games years later, Hill noted, "Everyone was skinny, even Barkley." After that, Hill got into the league, which for a year could not believe with the Michaels decision. The searching for a new face of the NBA didn't stop, and David Stern prayed to the gods of capitalism to send him at least some of the appropriate character. Experienced Barkley, Drexler and Hakeem already had the stigma of those who couldn't stop Mike, and youth like Shaq, Webber and Spriel had lack of charisma and values. The gifted two-time NCAA champion was the perfect fit. He was in many ways like Michael. His look of the killer on the court, combined with the charm and eloquence in life, elevated him above the rest. All this, as well as amazing speed and athleticism, made Grant the first owner of the title next Jordan. Yes, Grant Hill, as well as Jordan, became the prototype of the athlete of his time. Not selfish, educated, out of stereotypes, but as a player, it would be more correct to consider him the successor of Magic, in terms of a unique combination of physics, technology, and understanding of the game. At the time of his entry into the league, Hill was standard for the point forward position. This was not hindered even by his shooting limitations, which he ultimately did not overcome to the end. A 2-meter high man in charge of playing ball, taking more rebounds than center and still consistently scoring over 20 points? Isn't it magic? True, despite the fact that public fell in love with Hill for his polite, unobtrusive type, many players in the back called him Uncle Tom. But that's why Grant had an excellent chance of becoming a new face of the league, and the desire of the league bosses is quite understandable. So that's its face. In his free time from the game, would so reasonable, kind and eternal, and wouldn't not go around in gangsta underpants lowered to his knees. Still, in Stern, innovation and conservatism coexisted in approximately equal proportions. In addition to high expectations of the entire league, Rookie was also under pressure of the situation in Detroit. The team won the second championship in a row 4 years ago, but was already rolling downhill. The iconic Isaiah Thomas and Bill Laimbeer retired, and cockroaches in Rodman's head took him to Texas. And for 2 years in a row, Dumers alone couldn't bring the team to the postseason. And only the fans of the Pistons have come to terms with the collapse of Bad Boys and the new reality of not leading roles. They were okay with the elegant Hill, who is also compared to the main enemy of the golden era of their franchise. However, a couple of matches were enough for Grant so that there was no room for the skepticism of the fans. And in his rookie season, though he didn't lead the team to the playoffs, Hill shared the Rookie of the Year award with Jason Kidd, averaging 19.9 points, 6.4 rebounds and 5 assists in 70 games. He became the first Detroit player since Thomas to score at least 1,000 points in his opening season. But most impressive of all was the fact that Grant Hill became the first player in the history of North American basketball, baseball, American football and hockey to be included to the All-Star game as a voting leader as a rookie. And this is in the golden era of the NBA. It was after this that Slam magazine came out with the headline, "Grant Hill is just like Mike, only better." And for most people, this didn't seem like an exaggeration at the time. But he wasn't Mike. He didn't shout at the judges and partners, didn't show up in elegant suits, didn't smoke expensive cigars, didn't gamble. In these all-star votes, Grant did the unbelievable in those years. His army of fans grew so quickly that he managed to top the list in the first full season since Jordan's return to the league in '96. They were also compared as the part of their performances for the Dream Team at the Olympics. Hill got into the second one. Although he didn't play as brightly as Michael in Barcelona, but he was even more useful. With 18 interceptions, Grant became the best defender of his team and the Olympic champion in Atlanta. In the 96-97 season, repeating Larry Bird's 89-19 season record of 20 points, 9 rebounds and 7 assists, Hill entered the NBA All-Star team and finished the MVP race in the third place. Before the start of 97-98 season, even greater miracles were expected from Grant. Analysts note that despite the excellent statistic for the Pistons leader, his club had been eliminated in the first round of both previous playoffs. But they attributed this to the development of a young star and had no doubt that this series of failures was about to end. Hill had almost no weaknesses and no one saw the limits of his abilities. The more sad and tragic everything that happened in the future. In the next 3 seasons, Hill was unable to combine personal and club successes. Detroit was in stagnation. After 54 wins in 96-97 seasons, Pistons took a step back, winning only 36 times. In the 97-98 regular season, it was the first playoff miss since Grant's rookie season. Then came the lockout season and another first-round elimination, now by the Hawks. The attitude of the Pistons fans became cooler. They didn't like that their star could not drag the team through the first round, and the focus of the league shifted to Kobe Bryant, who became the new next Jordan. Hill's last attempt at playoff series for Detroit was in 2000, elimination by the Miami Heat. A week before the start of the postseason, Grant sprained his ankle and doctors strongly advised him to miss the playoffs. But persistent Piston fans begged their idol to overpower himself, and management carefully hinted at the same thing. In Game 2 of the series against Miami, he aggravated the injury and missed the remainder of the series, which ended in an outright victory for the Heat. From now on, Hill's career will be nothing but pain. He trusted the Pistons medical staff instead of bringing the specialist himself. Painful surgery, skipping the Olympics in Sydney, 6 months of recovery, after which the player understands that he must start over. In the same summer of 2000, it turned out that the elimination by the Heat was the final court of Hill's promising era with the Pistons. The Grant was traded in Orlando and, instead of a pile of awards and eternal glory, left the Pistons with only unforgettable dance and spectacular runs, as well as 4 first-round eliminations, 2 of which were sweeps in 6 years. In his first 5 seasons in the NBA, Grant Hill made 5 All-Stars games and got 29 triple-doubles, which was enough to rank 3rd among active players for a long time, despite the fact that he last did so in the year of '99. And today's fans are divided into 2 types. They either remember that version of Hill or they don't. This trade had interesting consequences for the Pistons, laying the first brick of a new rebuild. Ben Wallace, received in his exchange, became one of the fundamental elements of the second Bad Boys squad. With him, Detroit won the first playoff series since the original Bad Boys in 2002, advanced to the Eastern Finals in 2003, became NBA champions in 2004, and failed to defend the title in the finals against the Spurs in 2005. The Orlando Magic hoped through this trade to form a killer duo of star forward Hield and 21 years old talent Tracy McGrady, but we remember how it ended for both. Hill was in a constant pain. The surgery disrupted the structure of bone fusion, the ankle injury became chronic for him and constantly reminded of itself. In his first season with the Magic, he played 4 games, the next 14 and the whole 29 in 2002-2003 season. In 2003, Hill had a difficult surgery. They artificially broke his leg and tried to heal his bones again. 5 days later, he had a fever, convulsions, vomiting. During the second surgery, the doctors accidentally put a staphylococcal infection into the wound. Grant Hill was spending the season again in the hospital. He didn't play a single game in 2004 season. In the blink of an eye, it happened that divinely gifted guy Hill is already 32. Over the past 4 years, he was able to go to the court 47 times, and people began to forget about him. He continued to play and found the strength to return, but he couldn't only be himself in episodes, and there was no more talk of any greatness. Grant would play his first and only full season in the NBA, 82 games, only at the age of 36, already in the Phoenix Suns, with its legendary doctors, who, according to the name of the city, literally resurrected a bunch of decommissioned league veterans from the ashes in the 2000s. After playing only 29 games for the Clippers in the 2013 season, Grant Hill officially retires from basketball. By the way, at the same time as his classmate Jason Kidd, the second best rookie of the 94-95 season. Despite this, there was nothing in common between them, either in terms of career or in terms of human qualities. The super successful champion Kidd, one of the best point guards in history, has always had a certain narrow-mindedness of the court. He was often caught drunk driving and accused of domestic violence. Hill, on the other hand, was a true basketball ambassador, and with his character, education and respect for everyone, Grant balanced what he did not get on the basketball court. Their path after the end of the careers also differed. Unlike Kidd, Hill doesn't focus on coaching. His name appears on the list of the conglomerate that bought out the Atlanta Hawks. As the host of the NBA Inside Stuff, he is good, affable and sometimes even comical. As in during his career, Grant is unobtrusive, courteous, and doesn't crave everyone's attention. Some people believe that it was his humility and humanity, and not injuries at all, that killed Hill as a player. Allegedly, in the sport of high achievements, there is no place for mannered book lovers. Grant Hill was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame in 2018. He did not achieve success with any of his teams, and the heyday of not a single team for which he played is associated with his name. Does that make him a bad basketball player? No. Despite the fact that after an ill-fated ankle injury and a fatal medical error, Hill ceased to influence basketball from the inside. He was still involved in many high-profile events in the NBA. After his arrival in Orlando, the world started talking about the incredible progress of T-Mac, who became the league's leading scorer in those years. Trace relentlessly repeated how much Hill's mentoring had helped him, and a few years later he was echoed by the young Dwight Howard. Once in Phoenix, it was Hill and Steve Nash who became the main advisors to Mike D'Antoni in the matter of turning the run and gun into not only an effective but also an efficient system. And it worked. In 2010, Grant finally won his first playoff series and then another before losing the West Finals to the Lakers. One of the biggest disappointments in NBA history is the alternate line that never existed, where Grant Hill and McGrady go without injury. Doc Rivers makes Duncan sign with Orlando, and this big trio with Mike Miller from the bench rips the East to pieces. Moreover, Hill and Duncan, as for me, are the most compatible and very similar players. Game etiquette, an outstanding career in the college, respect for study and dedication, calm character. Grant Hill's tragedy isn't just about the injury-killed career. In this sense, he is no different from Chris Webber or Ralph Sampson. Yes, and from McGrady. But Hill was the man who could change the nothing less than the entire modern NBA paradigm. Hill, in the role of New Jordan, would show by his example that thinking with your head is fresh and interesting. That the stereotypical image of black athletes as infantile ghetto undergrowth is just a stereotype and nothing more. In fact, this is what David Stern tried to do, repressively winning the players from gangsta style and dressing them in the badly tailored costumes. But Stern acted aggressively and rudely, with prohibitive methods, while Old Hill, an intelligent gentleman in the status of the major league star, perhaps could have taught many players to think. Instead, the NBA has gone into a different paradigm. Aggressive athleticism, simple black kids evolving into a fashion designers and Drake's friends, and statements like, "Sorry guys, I didn't go to college," from another new Jordan, who is also closer to Magic. Hill could have been the main player of a generation, but he went down in history as a playoff loser, a prototype of LeBron, and a solid small forward in the Arizona wastelands, who only at the end of his career overcame the first round. But we remember him not for this.